Hello everyone, and welcome to Straight Chilling. Each week we watch and review a horror film for your entertainment. You can send all questions and comments to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com, and don't forget to keep chilling.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killin'. 5 cold villains on the mic, got you reelin'. 5-star ratings from the floor to the ceiling. If you get your 1 star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ, all the 1s and 2s. By the name Elzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all with 2. And prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? Welcome to a very futuristic episode of Straight Chilling. The future is now, 2020, baby, coming at you.
You used that one last time, Bob. You need some fresh material.
Okay, welcome to a Scream-full episode of Straight Chilling. Nah, it's too early. My brain's not working. My name's Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode number 249, recorded Sunday, January 12th, 2020. Tonight we're talking about Scream! It's going to be a screaming Scream. Holla at me. Holla at your boy. First up.
Holla.
First up on the show, calling in from Southern Korea once again, we got our boy Soju. What's up?
What up? It's your boy, Salty Stains.
Oh, because this is the poll pick winner?
You know why, Bob. Even after my hot dominance of the poll picks in 2019, I'm still... if I could trade any of them for this one, I swear to God. So close. I saw there was a comeback coming back. A lot of people changed their votes from...
I think one person did. I don't know about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Justin wanted The Exorcist to win because when we talked about it, he wasn't there, and he's been salty ever since. He holds a grudge.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there.
You weren't there.
Was Randy there, Bob?
I don't recall. Nobody
wasn't.
Nobody keeps score like you. Randy is not here this evening, though. He's still driving across country because that man never stays in one place for more than like 2 seconds.
I know. However, you better watch out. As soon as we find another grade A graphic design artist who will work for free and will be our friend for 10 plus years, he's out of here, man.
That's right. He's easily replaceable. But we do have with us once again returning to the show, Danielle. What's up, Danielle?
Hello, I'm here to fuck shit up again.
Metaphorically,
just like last time.
Or like you're going to be throwing shit around your room, or what's going on?
I'm even earlier here than you, so I don't have the strength to throw shit around.
Gotta get a little bit of coffee in you. You'll be ready to go. Fuck some shit up.
True.
Danielle.
I know it's actually nighttime for me, and I actually get to drink the soju. Whoa.
Getting twisted. Oh,
it's actually an appropriate time for me to drink.
I'm excited to see what happens with that.
Me too.
I'm a little excited, cautiously optimistic about getting off the rails here. Danielle, you want to remind people where they can check you and Anthony out with Ghoulish Cast and all that?
Yeah, so Anthony and I do Ghoulish Cast. You can check us out on pretty much any podcast format. We interview people in the horror community, and we just got a new website. It's somethingghoulish.com. So you can find all of our podcasts there. We do think pieces on the horror community. Videos from our YouTube are all there. So if you just go to somethingghoulish.com, you can find everything we do there, and it's a fun little time. It's a fun, spooky time.
It is. Spooktacular. Check their shit out. It's dope. It's worth your time. For sure. It's worth a look.
It is dope. I'm not a liar at 9 a.m., so.
You don't have the capacity to lie to us.
When 10 a.m. rolls around, though, it's anything goes.
Watch out. Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into some housekeeping real quick. We've got our February poll pick posted on the Patreon website. If you support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about in February. The theme for February, we're talking about French horror films. The 3 up there to vote on are High Tension, Eyes Without a Face, and Raw. Hashtag
how those numbers looking,
Raw.
Bob?
High Tension is winning. Eyes Without a Face and Raw are falling pretty far behind so far. But there's still a lot of votes to be casted.
Yeah, I know. It's still early. Uh-oh, Danielle. Which one are you going to vote for?
Oh, High Tension easily. That movie
I kind of hope that wins because I've actually never seen it. And I just need an excuse to watch it, apparently.
It's good.
It's free on Vudu if you want to watch it.
Okay.
I think. I might be a liar.
I'll find it. I've got my ways. I'm swimming in the dark web trying to find these movies sometimes over here in Southern Korea.
It's true.
But to be honest, I haven't seen the other. What was the other one in between Raw?
Eyes Without a Face. I've never seen that either. It's an old one from.
I haven't seen it.
Me neither.
So.
Wonder who picked that one.
I just don't know.
Art House Randy.
Also Red Stag Randy. He's got a lot
also
going on.
Yes.
Justin, what do we have going on with YouTube, Twitch, Bracket of Blood? Anything going on with that?
Oh my lord, we've got a full house to clean, Bob. Let's talk Bracket of Blood. That's our Bracket of Blood. We just wrapped up our first week of round 2. That was the Killers and Monsters divisions. The winners from round 1 moving going into their head-to-heads. The winners for the first week of round 1: Get Out, The Invitation, Midsummer, You're Next, It Follows, Krampus, Train to Busan, and It. That's It Part 1, not Part Deuce. This upcoming week on Monday, the 13th, we are going to start our round 2, week 2, which is going to be the Haunters and Macabre division. And that's going to go until Friday, the 17th. You'll have a chance to vote on our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. Some of the matchups you'll see in there, we've got like Suspiria versus Insidious and the Haunters, Evil Dead Remake versus The Beach. And in the Macabre round, let's see, they've got like Mandy versus Mother. Oh, shit. And Hereditary versus The Lighthouse. That's another head-to-head.
That's a good one.
That's going to be probably the toughest one.
Yeah.
And essentially, that's going to be, we only have 2 weeks of round 2. And then after that, we're at the final 16.
Damn.
We're at the final. Yeah, 4 from each division. So it's essentially going to be 1 week of round 3 to bring us to the final 8. And then round 4 is going to take us into the final 4. And then that's it. So we're going to have, 1 movie from each division going into the final 4. It's weird because we just did our, top 10 of the decade not too long ago. And we're like almost there in like this bracket. And it's like interesting to see what movies have kind of popped up here at the end. So,
which ones have lasted? Yeah. From here on out, it's just all bangers. They're all good. So.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
Gonna get difficult. Cool, man.
Yeah.
That all you got?
Actually, no, a couple things. So that's our Bracket of Blood. Please participate if you want to help us decide what is the greatest horror of the past decade. We are in a new decade now. It's a new year, new decade, Straight Chillin' Squad. We're doing some new shit. We're always doing some new shit. Bob, you dropped your first episode of Let's Get Physical Media. You have a new episode of that coming up, this week?
Yeah, so we're dropping our second episode on Tuesday. We're going to be releasing episodes on Tuesday. Not every Tuesday, but on Tuesdays. We got an interview coming up. We talked to a fellow by the name of Michael Felsher. If you purchase any of these collector's edition Blu-rays that we talk about on the show regularly from like Scream Factory, Arrow, Blue Underground, Vinegar Syndrome, any of those guys, Michael Felsher owns Red Shirt Pictures, and he produces a lot of the bonus content that you find on those discs with the interviews and whatnot. He's made a bunch of feature-length documentaries, including the Just Desserts, the Making of Creep Show. He's made documentaries on like the making of Halloween 2. And just a bunch of other stuff. He worked with Romero a lot. He was like close personal friends with George Romero. So we talked to him about all that, and he shared a lot of like really interesting personal stories and accounts with like Tom Savini and all kinds of stuff. So check that out. It's dropping on our Let's Get Physical Media feed. It's on iTunes. We're also now up on Spotify, and we're on Stitcher as well. We should be on Google Play. At this point, we should be pretty much anywhere you're trying to listen to podcasts. We're also up on Twitter and Instagram. Our Twitter handle is physical_media_, and we're on Instagram at Let's Get Physical Media Podcast. So you can hit us up across the board and keep your eyes and ears open for that interview dropping on Tuesday.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you guys added me.
New content.
Yeah.
When you guys followed me on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you guys followed me on Twitter, I was like, oh, cool. Like, what a cool little thing. And then I saw that it was yours, and I was like, oh, shit. Cool.
Yeah, so that's some new content from the Straight Chillin' Squad, and also a new thing we're trying out. So through our voicemail segment last year, we started to get like a lot of questions, things like, what are your favorite movies, or what are your favorite movies of the year, stuff like that. So a new segment we're going to be trying out, Top 5 Tuesdays. So I dropped our first Top 5 Tuesday video. Essentially the first Tuesday of every month, we're going to try and drop an exclusive YouTube video that's going to cover some top 5. So the first one that's up on our YouTube now is top 5 most anticipated horror films of this upcoming year, 2020. But that is something a new segment we're going to be doing for our YouTube channel every month, top of the month, on the first Tuesday of every month. So if you have any things you're curious about, like, I don't know, like top 5 slashers or underrated slashers, or I don't know, anything you're curious about and something you want us to make a video about, definitely drop us a comment on our YouTube. I've already got a couple that we're working on for the upcoming months, but that is a new segment, Top 5 Tuesdays. You can check that out at Straight Chilling Podcasts, YouTube.com/Straight Chilling Podcast. That's our YouTube channel. And also had to take a couple months off due to technical issues, but we're coming back on the Twitch channel. So we had some like audio issues with like audio lag and like party chat problems when we were trying to play like Friday the 13th and Dead by Daylight. So we're trying to bring back the horror video games on our Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/Straight Chilling Podcast. This month, I'm going to be playing Alien Isolation, and I think I've got all the technical difficulties worked out. So if you want to subscribe, and it will notify you when I'm going live. Since it is a longer game, I am going to be playing like more than once a week to kind of get that filled out. So I'm very excited. So yeah, if you're into horror video games and you would like to watch or participate in the chat, definitely subscribe to us there. And I'm very
excited about that.
Oh yeah, have you played Alien Isolation?
I streamed it on Twitch, and it's actually a really easy game to stream. So I mean, the graphics are really nice, but the UI and stuff is easy to switch to. It doesn't lag or anything. So I think you should have an easy time streaming it, and it's fucking scary. So
good. I'm excited.
It's fun.
I think the premise is it's supposed to be like a sequel to the original Alien movie. Is that right?
Yeah. Did you get it on Steam?
I have it on like the Game Pass, the Xbox. I'm streaming from Xbox, and that's why I was having so much like issues. But I think I got it all worked out now. So yeah, if you're into horror video games, check us out there as well. Danielle, she streams as well. What's your handle on Twitch?
So I actually took my Twitch out of the Something Ghoulish umbrella just because I don't have a set schedule and I wanted to do kind of my own thing. Yeah. So my handle changed, and it's like kind of, I don't know if I want to do it under my personal Twitch, which is Midnight Society _. So I'm not sure if I'm doing it there or another one. So I'm not sure yet, but if you follow me on Twitter, I guess you'll see it, which is the Ghoulish Girl. So
good. We got all kind of horror video games up
All
in this bitch.
kinda.
We're doing a lot of shit. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a
We
lot.
got a lot. We're covering all avenues of horror. Don't tell us we can't.
Right. Well, let's jump into what we've been watching this week.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Yeah, man. Justin, kick us off. What you been watching this week?
Oh my God. I feel like I've been watching so much. We haven't actually cast since it's been I don't know, a couple weeks since before Christmas. So I feel like I've been watching a whole lot of stuff. I watched that new, it's on Netflix, that Dracula series.
Yeah.
That it's Netflix, BBC, I don't know, collab or something. I don't really know the deets of it, but I watched it and it was good, especially it's a 3-parter, and essentially they're all about each episode is an hour and a half long, so it's essentially just this Dracula trilogy is what you're getting, because they're 90 minutes a piece, and the production value is really quality on it, the acting is good, so yeah, I really enjoyed it. You may be getting a little mini episode covering this Dracula. It was as far as horror goes, it's got some pretty cool moments, man. So I enjoyed watching that. I also watched the Witcher series that was on Netflix. And a little bit horror adjacent. There are some monster elements in it. It's mostly fantasy, and it's based off of a video game, but there definitely are some horror adjacent moments in this series. Considered maybe doing a mini episode on that one. I don't know if that's something you guys are interested in. If you have watched the Witcher series, I don't know. Let us know if you want us to do a mini episode on that one. I have finished it. It was solid. I enjoyed it as well. Bob, you tried to watch it. Couldn't quite get into it, huh?
Couldn't finish the first episode.
It was not for Bob. It is more of a fantasy, and I actually haven't played the game. It's made me tempted to play the game. I've seen so many top decade game lists that have it a lot of them at number 1 or definitely top 5. So I'm damn, I didn't know The Witcher was that good. So I am tempted to play it, but I heard it will pretty much suck all the time out of your life. So that is the biggest.
It will.
Dangerous.
Yeah. Yes. We're busy over here, straight chilling. I got to get you guys some new content. I can't be playing The Witcher all day. But I watched that. There's a new season of Rick and Morty up. I've been watching some of that. I watched a new Star Wars movie finally, because it actually just came out this week in Korea, Wednesday it came out. So I went to go see that one. It was okay at best, I guess.
Chrissy Orlando.
Chrissy Orlando
fine.
status. Yeah, there were some fine moments. I'm not a hardcore Star Wars guy. I enjoy it enough, and there are some elements from this new trilogy that I liked. I fucking Rogue One of these new movies is the best to me. I thought that movie was dope as shit, but this new trilogy, I'm I'm Ben Chrissy Orlando status all over it anyway. So when it ended, I was that's fine. Let's be done with it. I saw that. I think, man, I just feel like I've been watching a ton of shit. So I feel that's good enough. 2 full series, couple movies. So yeah.
Cool.
You done been watching?
Yeah, I've been watching.
What about you, Danielle? What you been watching?
It's weird because it's all the same thing as Soju. We've been watching The Witcher. I started Dracula, and I've only finished 1 episode because people just could not stop coming over to my house when I was trying to watch it. Yeah. But it was the first episode's really good. I didn't know it was a 3-part thing. I didn't know anything about it, but I really like the makeup of the Dracula and the vampire. It's spooky, and when they turn into the craving blood Dracula, their teeth change. That's my favorite part of that. But I like it. The Witcher. I never played Witcher 3 or any of the Witcher games, but I am now because I watched the show.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's where
I
I'm
started
at.
it.
I'm like, damn.
Yeah. Started it, and it's as good as people say already. But I thought the Witcher TV series was better than I thought it would be, because when they try to do video game, I guess it's from books, but when they try to do video game TV shows or movies, it's always kind of like, ugh, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it. It's kind of cheesy at some moments. I'm like, well, that could have been left out. But I mean, I thought the same thing about Game of Thrones, and I loved that show.
Yeah.
And then I finished season 2 of You. I freaking love that show. It's maybe cheesy to people and weird, but love
It's like
it.
about a stalker,
Dramatic.
right?
Yeah.
It
He
is,
stalked this girl in the first season, and then they started dating because he found out all the stuff she likes, and then he goes crazy because she's being a normal girlfriend and hanging out with her friends. He thinks she's ignoring him and stuff. I don't know. But
yeah, it's weird because it's played from a sympathetic view, right? Where you're supposed to sympathize with the stalker.
It is. He narrates the whole time. And so he'll be like, I had to kill that guy for us because you're not paying attention to us, and blah, blah. And for a second, you're like, well, I mean, it's kind of true. And then you're like, wait a second, am I a fucking psychopath?
That's some lifetime
It's kind of like
shit.
a Dexter type situation where but it's like he's a psycho serial killer. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, the second season is pure Dexter. I'm like, well, this is kind of Dexter, to a T.
Okay.
Like in the second season, he kills someone that has an actual apron on, and I'm like, dude, come on, this is like Dexter. But saw Star Wars. I don't follow Star Wars that hard. My husband does, so we saw it, and I thought it was good as a movie, but I don't know if it's good as a Star Wars movie. Don't know. And then the last thing is my sister and I went and saw The Grudge. Yowza.
Yeah.
That's a good yowza, right?
I mean, I didn't like the first remake of that movie anyways. I didn't understand. I guess since it came out the same time as The Ring, I'm like, well, The Ring is obviously superior to The Grudge. To me. And so The Grudge never really was on my I have to go back and watch that movie again type movie list. But my sister, she's 12 years younger than me, and The Grudge was really big for her. She watched it all the time, and she thought it was scary. So she was very excited to see it. And at the end, she's like, God damn it, dude.
Welcome to adulthood, bitch.
Yeah.
As you swirl your soju around.
Welcome.
It's all shit.
Now that you're 18.
This is life.
Smoke a cigarette about it.
Oh, man.
You're going to get let down.
Yeah. But I mean, there wasn't very many people in the theater, maybe one person by himself in the third row, and then a couple. And so it was kind of a good theater experience because we just got to chill and it felt like we were just watching this movie by ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I mean, yeah, it wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't good. But we still got to just chill and watch a movie. So I was like, eh. And I have AMC stubs, so I'm like, free movie down the drain.
There you go.
Yeah, at least it was free.
Yeah. At least you got that.
For free.
Yeah. Cool. I've been checking out some Cronenberg films, some latter-day Cronenberg films. Eastern Promises from 2007. This is sort of I guess after he did a lot of his body horror stuff. So Eastern Promises is it's like a Russian mob movie, really is what it is. Takes place in the UK. It's got Naomi Watts and Viggo Mortensen in it. And it's really just about this old mob boss who is trying to cover up some of his indiscretions by way of murdering people. So we got that going on, and it's action heavy. I mean, if you like mob movies, you'll probably get a kick out of it. But it's interesting to see Cronenberg do something that's a little more, I guess, based in drama as opposed to just straight horror, like if you're used to seeing Rabid or something like that, you wouldn't expect this from him. But it's a really, really solid movie. And if you're into watching some Viggo Mortensen peen fly around the screen for a while, you'll get ample amounts of that.
Oh boy.
Count me in.
There's this brawl in like a shower, I guess it's like a big sauna that he's in. He's just like taking a steam, and people jump him while he's in there. And there's like this full-on 5-minute fight scene where he's just completely naked. So you got that.
God, jump a man sick. While his dong is swinging.
I know, it's low. These mobsters.
What's this world coming to?
Dude, I don't even like walking like by a door frame while I'm naked. Could snag something,
Let alone fighting a man for your life.
Oh God, I got hung up on the door frame. I also watched A History of Violence, which is another Cronenberg joint from 2005. Again with Mortensen, less peen in this one. So
next.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
Minus half a star.
It's a solid movie. It's kind of another mob movie, actually. It's about this guy who may or may not have been a mobster at one point in his life, and may or may not be in the witness protection program. So it's kind of a question as to what's going down in this quiet little town with Viggo Mortensen, who he like owns a diner, and these bad people come in one day and they try to rob him. They try to like kill this lady that works for him, and he stops him. Turns out he's a badass. And you're like, maybe there's more going on with this guy than I think. So I don't know. It's a good action movie again. A little bit of gore, but definitely not like body horror stuff again. It's a couple solid latter-day Cronenberg movies. I recommend checking them out.
Cronenberg grew up.
He did. He absolutely did. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. Let's go ahead and get into the main event. We're talking about Scream. Let's start off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome.
No. I don't even know how.
Oh, shit. The bumps are just going haywire.
This is life.
Smoke a cigarette.
Welcome. Prepare to be disappointed.
Scream, 1996, directed by Wes Craven, stars Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and like a million other people. It's like
is that how you say her name? Is it Neve Campbell?
I think so. Yeah, that's how I pronounce it.
I've always said Nev.
I don't know. Maybe I'm mispronouncing.
Yeah, I've seen it both ways, but I don't really know, so I just call her Sydney.
yeah, that's probably better. Sydney Shaw it is.
Yeah.
That's your new name.
Oh, Sydney. So the plot, if you've been living under a rock, is as follows.
God.
A year after the murder, a year after the murder of her mother, a teenage girl is terrorized by a new killer who targets the girl and her friends by using horror films as part of a deadly game. We've seen this movie before. We've actually talked about it once before on the show long ago. It was one of the first 60 or so shows we ever did.
Which was the theme of January. Let's revisit the older shows. That's the theme we did last year as well. It's a fun theme. I like.
Yeah,
because those audios are bad.
Yeah, the past couple years we've been kicking off the poll pick in January with like a redemption theme. We pick movies that we would like to revisit just because we did them so long ago. But cool. Yeah, Scream was the winner.
Why did you pick Scream? You picked this. This was your winner. Why do you feel like we need it? I believe this is something I don't have prepared. I believe Randy told us that last time it ended with an overall score of 4.8 from the Straight Chilling crew. Why did you pick Scream for redemption, Bob? You think it's going to get higher this time?
No, actually, yeah, I think it might. I think it might.
You think it might?
Yeah.
Okay.
It might. This is just one of those movies that I think warrants a hefty amount of conversation, and I think last time we talked about it, we probably skipped over a lot of stuff, and it's just in general one of my favorite movies, of all time, horror or otherwise. It's an all-out banger for me, and selfishly, I wanted to talk about it again. So here we are.
Your favorite horror franchise, as you have said before, Bob.
It's solid, man. 75%
Oh, Bob, we're twins.
success. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, we'll see if we can beat that 4.8 then. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see if we can.
Yeah. We've all seen this before. I assume we all would recommend it, unless, Justin, you're going to surprise me and say no. I don't know.
No, I would absolutely recommend you watch Scream. I would be a fool to not recommend you watch Scream. That would be a disservice to you.
A disservice.
To you youngsters who have never seen Scream, who Bob likes to shit on because everybody's seen Scream, right, Bob? Everybody's born from the womb seeing Scream.
I didn't say
this
that.
This movie's almost 30 years old now, Bob. I don't think you realize how old of a man you are now.
It's true. I feel like most people are aware of it, though. That's what I mean with like reading the synopsis.
Yeah.
Most people are aware of it.
Yeah, it is what it's like 25. It came out in 96. It's like 24 years old now. Damn.
Yeah, she's old.
They
oldish.
They dropped this 5 days before Christmas, 96, December 20th.
That's weird.
Yeah,
that's
interesting
a weird choice.
Yeah,
it is weird.
Yeah,
but let's drop that spoiler warning, and we'll get into Scream. Here we go.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah, you giving up?
I can do it myself.
That is fine.
Yep.
That is fine. Spoiler.
I mean, it was pretty good.
Thank you.
So, yeah, this movie starts off with a very iconic scene. Drew Barrymore, whom at this point
Drew Barrymore
in 1996, if you're watching this movie, you're thinking, Drew Barrymore, she's like front and center on the poster. She's a big star. She's in this movie.
Yeah.
There's no way she's
definitely
going to
live a long way.
Incorrect. Murdered. Murdered to shit.
Murdered. Dude, murdered to shit.
Yeah. It's
Dude.
It's like it's
and her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Her buff ass high school boyfriend. That's what you get, jock.
That's what you get for playing football.
Playing the football.
You get stabbed to death.
I'm getting drunk already.
Get yours.
Let's go.
Let's G. So yeah, I was doing some research, and apparently, like, Drew Barrymore was originally supposed to play Sydney, but it was her idea to not do that. It wasn't necessarily Wes Craven's
interesting.
idea. I guess she had a good point that, like, if she died in the first scene, that would basically set the audience up to think that anything is possible in this movie. Essentially, like, these stars are not protected in any way just because I know them; they could still die.
Yeah,
You want that in a horror movie. You don't want to just know that, okay, these guys, they're safe, they're fine because they're famous and they got to be in the movie, right? Or else nobody's going to watch the movie. So
I don't want to talk about it now because we need to talk about a couple other things that happened. But remind me about that because I want to bring that up as like a huge positive for this movie and how. God, like how this movie is brilliant, of course, like why it's brilliant in like so many ways. But I'm glad that she suggested that because it just like builds off of this like just plethora of like brilliantness that is this film. But continue.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that opening scene, I mean, we got the introduction of Ghostface, starting with his voice, of course, calling on the phone, which is like a classic horror trope, you know, which it plays on a lot of those, obviously, as meta as this
where's
movie is.
Where's that originally from? Like, what movie does that originally come from? Like, the call is coming from inside the house. Yeah. What is that from?
Oh, When a Stranger Calls.
Okay, thank you.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
That movie is, oh my Jesus Christ, it's so good.
Is it?
Like,
okay.
But see, like, okay, so it came from a short film, and I don't remember what it's called. Maybe, I think it's like The Babysitter, or like, I'll have to look it up. But it's a short film, and it's on YouTube. And the short film is just the beginning of When a Stranger Calls. It's like the whole sequence, the same.
Okay.
But that's pretty much the best part of the whole movie is just the beginning sequence because it's the whole thing of her being in the house, the call's happening, and her finding out that he's in there. But that is the sound, the voice that he uses on the phone to talk to her is like, it's almost like black Christmas
Yeah.
scary. I don't know if
yeah.
but like Black Christmas has more like a psychopath thing. But he like in When a Stranger Calls, it's like this like almost like sad voice, like he's like soft and it's gross. But I think both of them are on YouTube. Like the entire When a Stranger Calls original is on YouTube because I think it's old enough.
Interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
But it's good, and I thought the remake was okay. I guess. I mean, they take the movie, the beginning sequence of her being in the house, and make it a whole movie in the remake. So, I mean, they did it correctly, I think, like story wise, because that's the best part of the movie. And then there's a second one from the 70s or 80s, and the storyline's trash. But there's this part where he like is hiding in this person's house, and he paints himself like the brick of their house, and like he's standing up against the wall, and like. Yeah, and like the whole time you're looking at this scene and you don't see him, and then he like opens his eyes.
That's nuts.
Dude, it's disgusting. It scared the shit out of me when I was little. But
Cool.
good movies, honestly.
Nice.
So just to clarify, because it does have, I guess, a little bit in like the vein of this movie. So you're saying I've never seen that film. So it is like The Call. Is that the opening sequence of that movie too? Like the original, not the remake. When a Stranger Calls, it is just the opening scene then with the like, oh, I'm like he's in the house and everything like that. Similar.
Yeah,
deal.
it probably goes on for like. Yeah, like same as Scream, like 15 minutes. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then she gets out or whatever. I mean, like the cops come.
Yeah.
It's like almost the same thing.
They take that trope and they sort of update it because now we have cellular telephones, right? You can call from inside the house.
Oh, it's cordless.
You don't need a second landline anymore. You can just call, baby, from anywhere.
Oh my God. We got to talk about how dated this movie is now 24 years later. It's so nuts.
That's what I always wondered though about those movies like that and Black Christmas. I'm like, how are they calling their own phone number?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I know you're not supposed to think
you
about
would
that.
never think of now. Like, but
Right.
back then you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But, yeah, we've got this like intensely brutal scene with Drew Barrymore in the beginning, like getting stabbed and like drug across the lawn as she's holding the phone, and her parents are like coming home and they're like right there as she's getting murdered. But they don't see her, they don't hear her. But as she's getting drug away holding the phone, they pick up the other phone to call the cops, and they can't,
because the house is like trashed.
the
broken
popcorn's on
burned.
fire.
Yeah.
And they
Drew, throw the freaking phone.
they
Throw
hear
the
her
freaking
dying,
phone.
and it's and then he like strings her up from a tree, which is just an extra little touch of
By her
brutality for
insides.
some reason. Yeah. It's the last thing you would expect to happen going into this movie in the 90s, you know, with Drew Barrymore. It's just subverting your expectations right off the bat. You're like, holy shit, what is this movie? What am I watching? It's a good way to set the tone, I think. Ghostface, the voice of Ghostface, I forget the actor's name, but something that Craven chose to do was these actors, when they're talking on the phone, they're actually talking to him. They're having a conversation in real time with the actor, but they've never seen what he looks like. He's like off stage talking to them on the phone, so that they get a more genuine reaction from them when he says like, I want to see what your insides look like and shit like that. Like they
Interesting.
I don't even think he was credited.
Yeah, he might not be.
Yeah. His name's Roger.
That's wild.
Roger
Jackson.
Roger
Roger Jackson.
Roger.
He also played Mojo Jojo, so that's a thing.
Nice. That's also like 24 years old or so. Maybe a little less, but
welcome to adulthood.
Whoa. Prepare to be disappointed.
Smoke a cigarette about it.
You youngsters don't know shit.
Yeah.
About Mojo Jojo.
They also, in that scene, they set up the whole, like, what's your favorite scary movie? And then he starts playing this, like, horror trivia game with Drew Barrymore, which sort of goes on throughout the movie as they name drop tons of horror movies, and, like, they specifically call out tropes, and, like, they set the rules towards the end of the movie. And it cracks me up, like, Barrymore gets the answer incorrect to like who was the killer in Friday the 13th. She's like, of course it's Jason. Everybody says that. Everybody thinks that. But he gets her on the technicality. He's like, no, it's Miss Voorhees, because in the first one that is true.
Yeah.
And then she like freaks out because she's like, I've seen that movie a million times. It's like, bitch, how would you not like say that? Like you would know then.
My mom and I always talked about that when we would watch, because my mom and I, Scream was like our like top dog, you know. And every time we'd watch it, we're like, you know, would you be too scared to remember that it's like, you know, you're in a situation where you're like, I'm gonna fucking die, and you're like, oh my god, it's Jason, I know it. And so I was like, I don't know if I'd be able to think fast enough to be like, oh, this is a trick question, you know. So every time I watch it, I'm just like, I wonder what I would do.
It's true. Yeah.
They also have a bit of like a reference to Halloween in that scene where the parents come home and the dad tells the mom to get in the car and drive down to the McKinseys, which is what Laurie tells the kids to do at the end of Halloween. She's like, run down to the McKinseys' house. So
the old McKinseys, they'll save you.
Yeah,
we need to write a horror movie called The McKinseys.
What's going down over there? They're just having a lovely evening. They just have a nice dinner and go to bed.
They're like monster hunters or something. We need to they're like the McKinseys.
It's just a like anthology of children and people running to their house and being like,
yeah, those poor damn McKinseys. They're like the most vanilla fucking family on earth, but they just keep getting rung up by these kids. Yeah.
We don't want
I can't help you.
We've got church in the morning. Go home, kids.
It's late. So yeah, from after that scene, it sort of sets the tone for the movie. We get all meta with the name drop of Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and all this other stuff. Then we finally get introduced to the actual star of the film, Sidney Prescott, star of the franchise. Actually,
so I checked. Neve, whatever her name is, Campbell. This time, I know we've brought this up from 90s movies past. She is playing, I don't know, a 17, 18-year-old, because I know Scream 2 isn't set in college, so assumingly
she's a nice
senior. Yeah, seniors maybe.
She's 23, so not as egregious as like a 27-year-old, but still the 90s with their fucking sexualized 23, 24, 25-year-olds playing, 16, 17.
They don't really do that to Sydney much. I mean, pretty much.
Let's go. Like her one of her opening scene. Oh yeah, definitely her. But also the whole like let's have sex. I mean, they do have it's and like they even do the joke of like let's keep this PG-13 and she like flashes her titties, but she doesn't really flash her titties.
Yeah, but, no actual nudity in the franchise. There is no nudity in the Scream movies.
Oh yeah, that's true.
No plus half star. They're gonna need it,
which in itself is a bit of a subversion. So they're kind of
it is.
But yeah, we've got Sidney Prescott, who is our final girl in this movie, and she's one thing I always liked in this series is Ghostface consistently gets the shit knocked out of him. All the time. I
want to talk about that too. There's so many things I feel like I want to talk about because we haven't got through the whole synopsis yet, but fuck it. One of the things I love about this movie, watching it again this time, having seen it so many times, and I'm sure it's popped up into my mind before, but specifically this time when I'm thinking about we're going to talk about this again on the cast, I'm actually taking notes and shit, is knowing that one of the killers is Lillard and how ridiculous he acts in this movie. But sometimes you see it. I love how knowing that it's Lillard, you're Lillard's one of the specific times I have is when the chick is throwing beer bottles at him in the garage and he's just taking it like a bitch. And it's just translates so well to who the actual character ends up being. It's just really, it adds to that funniness of it.
Lanky Lillard drooling on himself.
If you think of that's the actual character, not even Lillard, the person, that's the character and the way he acts out in the movie. It's that looks legit. That seems to translate really well. And not even in a comedy aspect, just in or he's clumsy as fuck and he's wearing a Halloween mask and chicks are throwing beer bottles at them and they're like busting all over. It's like, that sucks. Like,
apparently those were real.
I don't know. It works really
bottles. Well. Like the stuntman was actually getting pelted with real bottles. Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was like the one where he gets hit like pretty much in the dick. There was apparently like a target off screen McGowan was supposed to hit with a bottle, but missed it and just hit him in the dick with it. So that guy,
Ooh, boy.
whoa. No kids for him.
He's like, get in the garage door, bitch.
Right. Which we'll get to that scene, I guess. But
We'll get to that. I know, but I know
that shit's nuts.
Yeah.
So as we meet Sidney Prescott, we also meet Billy Loomis, the boyfriend, which his name again is a reference to Scream with the character of Loomis. But Billy, as you meet him, the first thing he says is like, "I was at home watching The Exorcist and I thought of you. How is this man not a serial killer?" Right off the bat, he's a killer,
Dude. Yeah, immediately, and his demeanor is so like. I almost like, I don't want to say like incelly, but he's like, you owe me some sex because we're together and we used to be hot and heavy. It's just like, dude, your hair's greasy. Get the fuck out of here.
He's got that 90s blonde Backstreet Boys greasy ass hair for sure.
Dude, yeah.
Oh,
but I mean,
his first name Billy might actually be a reference to Black Christmas, with the caller being Billy and
Oh, yeah.
I never put that
Hey.
Billy
I didn't
Loomis.
think about that either.
True.
But yeah, this dude is like so obviously a cooter and a killer right off the bat. But they do a pretty good
we'll
job.
get to that.
They do a good job at trying to cover that up because, like, throughout the movie, he ends up getting arrested and put in jail because they think he is the killer because he drops a cell phone. And that
Drops this up.
in the mid 90s, that's a clue because not everybody has a cellular phone, you know. So
This fucking movie is so nuts. Like, I wonder what kid like now, like if you're like 18, 19, 20, and like in your early 20s, like what do you think of this movie? I kind of want to know. Like if you're around that age, like hit us up on our Hotline Scream this week or something. Because like, yeah, he's even in the police like interrogation. They're like, "What are you doing with the cellular phone, son?" And it's just like, holy shit! Like, just like this was released in '96. 4 or 5 years later, I mean, at that point, you know, like people are more like getting phones, but it's just like,
well, and he says it's the '90s, sir. Everyone has one. I'm like,
wow,
no,
not yet,
not quite,
Billy,
not quite.
Yeah,
but yeah, they do a good job. Oh, what you got?
Go ahead. I was going to say the same thing as you. What you're about to say. Go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah. How he gets like arrested and put in jail, and then Sidney gets a call from someone else, and it's like, okay, well, he's not the killer, so he's good to go now. So they let him out of jail, and of course later we find out there's two killers and they're working together, which is something that is kind of rare, and it's a subversion because when in a slasher type movie, there's just one person. You don't know who it is. You might not know. Ever I mean, you know, Black Christmas, who the hell is Billy? We don't know. Or it's just, you know, Jason. You know, it's always Jason. It's always been Jason.
Yeah.
It's a force of nature. But in this one, in every Scream movie, it's like a whodunit situation. The killer changes. You don't know who it is. And it's interesting to see that there's two in this movie, which you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, that's a huge. I mean, what I couldn't even think of like what other movie is there like two like a collaborative like killer. And it doesn't, the thing is it like makes sense even in the same way where I'm like, oh, you go back and you look at things and you're like, oh, like that could be like the character of Lillard. And that's why it's like so clumsy like that. Even though like a lot, it's like, even though it's like written to kind of like be a comedy, this like movie set itself up so well to where like, even if you wanted to like pick apart some things about it, you can't even because it's like, well, no, then it's just like making or like it's pointing out the flaws or the tropes or like the things of or like, you know, a satire of other horror movies. So even if like, oh, there's like a flaw, it's like, no, it's just like pointing at the flaw. So it's literally like set up to be this like, you can't poke holes in it. Like, yeah, you can't. Yeah, it is airtight, but it's like, but then what they do with it is like, if you take it on its own, like even without the comedy, it's still a solid slasher.
Yeah.
It's like, because they don't pull the punches. I swear, man, that like opening scene and kill is so brutal. Her like boyfriend gets gutted, and then when the mom is like on the phone and her like daughter is dying, she's like, where is she? Like, not my daughter. Like, that shit's brutal. Like that's hard hitting like brutality, and also the fact that like it's just a knife that they use. Like, most of the kills, like, okay, the garage door, it gets kind of nuts, like where they're crushing somebody with a garage door, but for the most part they're just stabbing bitches. And like and it's like kind of brutal to watch because it's like so like personal. It's like not like a, you know, even a machete and like where Jason's like hacking people's heads off and shit like that. They're just like stabbing people.
And sometimes like, it's very slow. It's a slow stab.
Like, and you're like, fuck, that sucks. So like in just all of these realms, but at the same time they still do a great job of like poking fun at themselves. Like, okay, so the killer ends up being Billy. Literally, Jamie Kennedy says in the middle of this movie, it's Billy. He says like, oh, the dad's a red herring. It's Billy. But because you don't think there's going to be two killers, you're like, oh no, Billy's the red herring. Like, it's just so fucking brilliant. It's like smartly written. It's amazing how it all came together.
When they talk to him in the movie store, it's like one of the best scenes. Because it's like so blatant and you're just like, who is it? Like the whole time you're thinking like, who is it?
Everyone's a suspect. That's
right.
He legit tells you like who it is.
And then in that scene though, they even flip around and they're like, well, maybe it's you because you're like the nerdy guy who's obsessed with horror movies and, you know, be kind of unsuspecting that the nerdy guy's the killer. But they do a good job at making you wonder, like pretty much until the last scene, who the hell the killer is, because you're like, okay, it's Billy. And then you're like, no, it's not Billy. And you're like, well, but maybe it is Billy because he is still very, very creepy. And then when we finally get to the party scene and Sydney and Billy actually do hook up, he gets stabbed by Ghostface. And you're like, holy shit. Okay, it's definitely not
Billy. It's definitely not.
But then it's Billy.
I will say, freaking Sidney Prescott, and this is something we got to bring up like a couple things. Like, there's so many levels to this. I gotta to remind me to bring this back up, but I will point out now, Sidney Prescott sleeps with this dude. Still thinking he might be the killer because soon as they're done, she starts like probing him. She's like, who was your one call from prison? Who did you? And it's like, bitch, you just slept with this motherfucker. You literally just lost your virginity to this guy who you still think could be a killer. Like, that's not.
While you're at a party about this killer. They're like, party at our house. This guy might kill everyone.
School's canceled because all my friends are getting hacked up. Let's get fucked up. That sounds smart. That's very smart.
I think they did that because they're like, okay, Sydney just had sex. She's fair game. Is she going to die? And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's sort of like happening at the same time as we're being told like these rules by Jamie Kennedy, and one of them is you cannot have sex, and bam, she has sex. So they tell you like, okay, Sydney is now fair game. She very well could die, and as we have seen from the first scene of the movie, Drew Barrymore getting killed in the 90s, first time seeing this, you're like, holy shit, she might actually die. They might just kill everybody in this movie. But they don't. They subvert that trope.
They could have.
They just subvert some shit all over the place. But at the same time, they play into some shit. Like, all the tropes are kind of there and also kind of not there at the same time. It's got layers.
There's this one time where Jamie Kennedy is watching Halloween on the TV. But his name is not Jamie in the movie. And he's talking about Jamie Lee Curtis. And the killer Ghostface is right behind me. It's like, Jamie, turn around. I was like, this shit is brilliant. Like, it's fucking, it's hilarious, but it's also still like a good horror. Like, it's just like so. It was like, it's like fucking catching lightning in a bottle. You could never, ever, ever do this again. Like Cabin in the Woods, like, oh, Bob, that looks good. Cabin in the Woods, I feel like definitely like is like a spiritual successor in that way because they did it in a similar kind of way. But man, Scream, it was just like, man, it just was lightning in a bottle, man. It just,
it was.
It's like, it's nuts how lucky they ended up getting with like all of this. Because not only that, like we haven't even talked about the fucking like acting in this movie. Goddamn Lillard. If Lillard doesn't just like take this like level 10 movie to like 11 with like that ending scene where he loses. I know we like to going full Lillard, man, but that shit, like, I love Lillard in this fucking movie.
Yeah, he's the best.
Fucking kills.
And he's like the dopey killer that's like, it's like the classic like smart killer and dumb guy that gets bossed around, but he's just like, he does it so well, and he's just like kind of like fuck you by the end of it to Billy. He's like, dude, you fucked me up.
He puts everything into it too. I read somewhere that he improvised at one point when they're like it's like toward the end and like, oh, it's Billy and it's Lillard. I don't remember it. Just Lillard. It's Stu. And like Sydney like gets away and she's like, she calls them, she flips it on them, which is another just like cool aspect of this like movie. Yeah. And like, she's like, I called the cops, bitch. She let me go over. And he's like, did you really call the cops? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, my parents are going to be so mad at me.
So mad at me.
I read that he like improvised that or whatever. I was just like, that dude like fucking came to bring it, man. He just stepped up. Yeah, fucking Lillard killed it. So like just the writing and even like Drew Barrymore like stepping up and be like, no, like you should kill me. Like it just feels like it like was just this perfect combination that like you could never in your wildest dreams like replicate. Like it just like everybody that was involved was all about it and just was like on the same like wavelength and they all just like hit their marks. And it's just like, it is, oh man, it's nuts.
Yeah. Craven almost passed on directing this. I was watching an interview with him and he said that he wanted to get away from the horror genre, maybe do something else because he'd done it so much. And he was at a convention and this kid came up to get him like his autograph or something. And the kid was asking him like, hey man, you haven't made anything good in a while. You should probably make something good again. And that's what made him go, okay, well, I'll direct Scream. that kid had to call him out.
All right.
So
there you go.
Thanks, little kid, for telling Wes Craven.
Yeah, I
hope
that kid's having a great life.
Up.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about the motivation a little bit here. So there's actually a decent amount going on plot wise. So we find out through watching various news clips. And, Gail Weathers, the news reporter, being a huge bitch and talking to Sydney about this. So Sydney's mom, 1 year prior, was allegedly raped and murdered by this guy named Cotton Weary, whom Sydney Prescott basically fingered him. She was up on the stand and said, yeah, I saw that man in my home the night my mother was killed. So Cotton Weary is now in jail. And these murders start happening 1 year after her mother was killed, and now she's kind of second guessing, like, well, fuck, maybe it wasn't Cotton Weary. Maybe I accidentally put this man in jail and he's innocent. And Gail Weathers, the news reporter, wrote a book on this whole thing, basically stating that, yes, that's exactly what happened. This is an innocent man in jail. And so there's some tension between Gail and Sydney because they obviously don't agree on who killed her mother. And so this whole thing is going on. And we come to find out at the end of the movie, when we find out who the killers are, that Billy, his dad, was sleeping with Sydney's mom, and that sort of broke his family up, and that's what caused Billy to want to kill his mom. So Cotton Weary is an innocent man, and we find out that Billy is the murderer, has been the whole time, and Matthew Lillard is just sort of like his dopey friend who was kind of peer pressured into helping him, which is kind of loosey-goosey, but that's just kind of how it goes, right? They also say that, it's the 90s. Motivation is really of no consequence at this point. People are just psychopaths. They just are. So they do crazy shit. So that's sort of our killer's motivation here. And as a team at the end, they just like self-destruct, and it's a blast to watch.
Yeah.
Lillard drooling all over himself, and of course he's like, these days, baby, you gotta have a sequel, and which of course they got a sequel. And the line where I think Billy says it, where he's like, don't blame the movies. Movies don't create psychopaths, they make psychopaths more creative. And that line is what caused the MPAA to want to give this an NC-17 rating, because they're like, that is not cool. You can't put that out there. That's a sensitive topic. And of course, Wes Craven wrote them many letters about how that's just an idea. That's not blood and guts on the screen that you have a problem. That's just an idea. Right. You can't do this, basically. And I know the Weinstein name is not great these days, but Harvey Weinstein had to step in, and he got involved with the MPAA and convinced them to see this movie as a straight up comedy, which it's comedic, but because he did that, they were willing to leave that line in and give this an R rating instead of an NC-17 rating. So he did that.
That's nuts, man.
And that's why this movie was able to keep that line in, which I think really adds a lot to this movie, because
it does.
That whole argument that media that contains violence, whether it be movies or video games or whatnot, makes people kill people is insane, and it's not founded in reality whatsoever. And this movie commenting directly on that is smart. And thanks, Kevin Williamson, for writing such a fucking baller movie.
So, Rob, you would consider Harvey Weinstein a hero?
No, I do not. Don't even joke with that shit. The man's a monster. Everybody knows.
Absolutely.
He's done horrible things. And you know what? I bet he hates horror movies, because he's an asshole.
and we hate him. So. Right. But what you said about the him saying they make psychopaths more creative or whatever, that's like I guess a theme throughout all four movies is they do the life imitates art, which imitates life. Mm-hmm. They talk about it all the way to the fourth one. And I think it's cool because it is a movie about serial killers. And then the second one, they make a movie about the first one. And then people kill people from the movie, and then they go all the way to the fourth one with that, like, kind of dominoes, like domino effect. And I think it's cool because we are watching a movie, but to them in the second movie, they watched a movie. I don't know. It's just
it's like
where they talk about the stab series.
Inception.
Yeah, it's like, holy shit. You have to actually at a certain point, especially when you get to the fourth one, that opening scene, you're like, wait, how many movies are in this movie, and who's watching the movies? And I'm watching them watch these movies that are of people watching movies, and you're like, holy shit. It like your mind starts to blow a little bit. You're like, okay, all right.
Yeah, what's real?
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, it's definitely that chicken or the egg type deal. And it's something that I feel like they kind of borrowed from the idea of even sci-fi movies, as you see technology advance and oh shit, this is stuff that they talked about in sci-fi movies. You're like, well, yeah, that probably inspired some kid 20 years later to be I gotta make that. And so of course it then it inspires, but then it's it all kind of feeds into this loop of
cycle.
The life, like you said, true life then does inspire new ideas, and then those ideas inspire new, it just keeps going and going. So, yeah.
I do. I want to give a shout out here to Henry Winkler playing the principal in this movie.
Yeah,
he's a fucking badass, man. I love his character.
He is.
He's not in it for very long. But these kids are dressing up in the Ghostface costume, running around and terrorizing Sydney and her friends and stuff. And he gets a hold of these kids and pulls them in the principal's office, and he's got these scissors, and he's brandishing these scissors at them. And he's
the worst fucking principal.
He's just telling these kids about themselves, and he's like, your whole thieving, whoring generation, you're all worthless. And just fucking tell him. Tell him, Fonz. I like that shit.
He does have a weird... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, he was the little kid's that's not fair. He's like, oh, fair, huh? And he just sticks those scissors on his chest. And I'm like, oh, whoa, dude, if my freaking principal did that, I'd shit my pants. Yeah. But I mean, it's not wrong. He kind of gives them what they deserve. But
that was improv too. The scissor thing. He just
really.
started doing that. Yeah,
that's cool.
He has a weird moment where like the cops are in the office and they bring Sydney in and he like strokes her like face. I don't know if y'all like picked up on that.
Right,
It's like, what the fuck is going on in the 90s?
Yeah, at that point you're like, well, shit, maybe he's the killer because you have no idea. Everybody is a suspect.
Shit.
And then, of course, we see the janitor that's straight up Freddy Krueger in the sweater, looking crusty as hell.
It's Wes Craven.
Yeah, that's Wes Craven in that.
That's
he's like, "What'd you call me?"
That shit is awesome.
Dude, the stuff that they do in that movie, like that, and then when she's on the deck and she's like, "This is like it's straight out of a Wes Craven or a Wes Carpenter movie," and I'm like, "Dude, damn it, it's so good."
Yeah, and they're playing Halloween in the movie. That fucking like God, this movie is like so funny too. That scene where he's like, it's broad daylight and Ghostface is just like creeping through the bushes. That shit like gets me every time. It almost there are like scenes where like I feel like I'm watching Scary Movie or like I get them like scenes from Scary Movie and Air Chase because then like the scene pops up where like it's just broad daylight and like he's creeping through the bushes. I'm like, that's fucking hilarious. Like that is some shit you would almost see in Scary Movie, which is just straight up like a satire comedy. And it's like it's so ridiculous.
So
just creeping through those bushes. It's just like really funny in this like black robe or whatever. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like getting his ass busted with those beer bottles. Like he just like takes it like such a bitch and it's like really funny.
Yeah. I think there's a part too where they're going to get like beer for the party and they close the little like glass door and he's standing there.
Just chilling.
I'm like, dude, yeah, you're just in this like convenience store, full outfit. It's just like, nah, dude, I'm good.
Creeping, yeah, like no one would see you.
God.
Oh my God.
What a movie.
Oh my Lord. Yeah,
my
there's
Lord.
That whole last bit where like they actually scored the movie to the soundtrack of Halloween. Like even the stabs in the score line up with like jumps that are happening in Scream. So it's like commenting on these slasher films, but it's like almost choreographed to have the same beats as the end of Halloween does in certain scenes anyways.
You mean the stabs line up to
like
things that are happening in Halloween?
No, in Scream.
Oh, in this.
Yeah, like somebody's popping out in Scream, but then you'll hear the stab from Halloween being played in the next room. It like lines up
okay. Oh, okay. I see the alternate. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So it's like layered, and like how you like come up with that is insanity. Like I don't know, but
I don't.
We find Sydney's dad. He's been kidnapped, and they try to frame him, but it doesn't work because Sydney's a bad bitch and stabs.
She's a bad bitch.
Stabs Billy, I think, with the umbrella. And then Gail Weathers comes in to save the day with a gun. And they even do that thing at the very end where like, okay, the killer's dead, but this is the part in the movie where the killer comes back for one last scare. And of course he does. Like wakes up.
Yeah.
Which he's obviously dead. It's like, it's pretty funny. Like that man is deader than a doornail, but he still like jumps one more time. You're like, okay.
And he just goes,
yeah.
We got to rewind a tiny bit whenever she kills Stu. That scene, that kill is incredible.
With the TV. Now, I think that's inspired by Friday the 13th. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, because this also shows how dated this movie is, because she crushes Stu's head with just a standard in your house television. Yeah.
Heavy as shit.
Which, kids, if you didn't know, back in the day, them TVs were fucking heavy as shit. That was some real glass and like tubes
Top
and
heavy.
shit. Yeah, you could crush a bitch's head with that. Could you kill somebody with the TV these days? Probably not.
Nah.
I don't think you crush somebody's head. But also, was it Nightmare on Elm Street part? We covered it 3 or 4.
3.
Where the dudes, the TV like head smash and
Dream
everything.
Warriors,
Yeah. I didn't know if that was
Yeah.
inspired by that.
Might have been.
It made me think of it at
It
least.
could be.
And like
Yeah.
as the TV falls on his face, you see Laurie on screen brandishing a knife like right out as it falls on his face. It's just like that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Tiny little perfect.
Yeah.
Lillard crushed.
Yeah, we didn't really talk
Weird.
much about old Deputy Dewey, played by David Arquette.
Not
He's like
really.
Oh yeah.
bumbling fool. He's hilarious. He's freaking.
I'm an
That's-
officer of the law. When I wear this badge, you treat me like an officer of the law.
That's another one where like just the parody of Scary Movie like blends in my mind.
Oh, it's the same person almost.
Yeah, where like Dewey's like so ridiculous and like, but just like the scenes of him like jerking off with like a vacuum cleaner, like, you know, like using a vacuum cleaner, like it just like gets infused, like they just blend in because he's like such a doofus or whatever.
He is just a. And like him and Gail Weathers, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Like, come
Yeah.
on. But
They were boning in real life. They got married after this.
they
movie.
were.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got divorced
sure it
during like the
lasted.
third or fourth one. which
Yeah,
would
they
be
did
so
also get
awkward.
divorced.
That would be
So
weird to like
awkward.
come back to work on a sequel
Yeah.
with your ex-wife where you're playing like you're married. That would be, man, that
Yeah.
would be tough.
It would be.
But yeah, Officer Dewey, Dewdrop is one of that guy calls him. He is one good piece of this. He's very like, he's like you said, Scary Movie. He's just like a comedic like doofus this whole time, and throughout all of them, he just keeps getting just fucked up after fucked up. He gets like shot in the first one in the back, or no, stabbed. I'm sorry. He gets stabbed in the first one in the back, and then he has this weird like run limp in the rest of them, and he like almost dies again, and it's
Yeah.
just like this guy is just meant to be here to be laughed at.
He gets worked.
I love that they
Yes.
keep it consistent though. They like bring it back like, oh yeah, he actually was stabbed or and like or
Yeah.
whatever. He's got the limp and shit.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else you want to touch on before we give our final rating on Scream?
I did have one hole I wanted to point out.
Oh, okay.
One potential flaw in this movie after we've filleted it. The killers.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I was thinking about. I've seen this movie like countless times now. So I was like, what am I going to knock this movie on if I can or whatever? The killer's whole goal is to kill Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
but to blame it on her dad
Mm-hmm.
and use the excuse that it's her mother's 1 year anniversary when she died, and her like dad goes crazy. They're gonna kill Sydney, and then they're gonna make it look like the dad shot himself after he killed a bunch of like Sydney's friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But why the fuck are they trying to kill Sydney like throughout this whole movie if their whole like master plan is to like wait until the 1 year anniversary? Like them bitches are like in her room like 2 nights before, like trying to kill her and shit. Like
Yeah, that's a fair
obviously to
point.
fill out the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when real like that would fuck up their whole plan. Like they're trying to kill her while her dad's like still at the house. Like he hasn't left on his business trip yet or whatever. He's like a trucker, he drives or whatever. But it's just like they go through this whole thing like, oh, we thought this all out. It's like you've been trying to kill her this whole fucking movie.
But they
Like
also
that
say
shit would have
that's
like gone out the window.
motives are incidental. They're just crazy.
I'm just-
They're just crazy. Just
They probably just made it
Then
up.
why
on the
have a
spot.
plan at all?
yeah, could have. All right, let's rate this out of 5. Danielle, why don't you kick us off? How you feel about Scream?
Well, it's the best movie ever made and the best franchise. I have one of 2 tattoos I'm going to get for it. I've Billy on one side and I'm going to get Stu on the other.
Cool.
And I just got pet rats named Sydney and Tatum. So I kind of like this movie a little bit.
Yeah.
And I honestly, even with Soju's little hole he just put in it, boo, I 5 out of 5. Easily. Like,
Right on.
easily perfect movie.
All right. Justin, what about you? How you feel?
Yeah, this movie, it's great. Like I said, it's lightning in a bottle, and everything about it just came together well. The acting is great, the writing is great, and like the subversions, like just the great mixture of still being a great original kind of like slasher with the comedy mixed in, with them literally like telling you who the killer is, but you just can't believe it because like you're a horror fan. Like, no, they wouldn't tell me like who the killer is, and like everything. It's just, and the two killers, like it all works like so well. And yeah, I try to bring up that like hole, but it like doesn't even matter because like I said, like the way they've almost made themselves like you can't poke holes in it because it's just like the idea of like, oh, we're just making fun of other slashers, or we're showing you like how flawed like the genre is and stuff like that. It's brilliant. It just like surrounds itself in brilliance. Lightning in a bottle. So of course I got to give this the old straight chillin' solid 1 star. Write it down, Bob.
I'm not writing that down.
Write it down, Bob. Write it down. That's
lying.
the score. It's a solid 1 star.
You're a liar. Why are you lying to the people at home?
It's solid, Bob. It's solid gold. Solid gold 1 star.
So
I mean, it's 10 o'clock, so it's time to lie. It's okay to lie now.
So 1 + 4. Is that what's happening?
Bob, write it down. Write it down. That's the score that you've been given. You can't. You cannot dictate these scores, Bob.
You don't mean it. You did not justify that score. I will not write it down.
Bob, it's a solid 1 star.
Jesus.
It's a straight chilling tradition, Bob.
It's not. I mean, it happened one time. You're not that drunk. You haven't had a handle of whiskey. You're not that drunk.
That's the score that you've been given. That's what you have to accept. I'm sorry you have to accept that fate, but you brought this on yourself by choosing to revisit Scream when it had a 4.8 rating, Bob. That's what you get.
This is ridiculous. Okay, I am going to give this movie a 5 star because it's fucking incredible.
Interesting. Justify yourself.
Well, the movie, like I said, it sort of it takes the piss out of the media creating monsters, which I absolutely agree with, and I think it's funny to me that you would use a horror movie to comment on that. It's sort of just like waving the finger at people who actually believe that. It's just written so airtight. Kevin Williamson like really honed this shit in. Apparently he wrote this in like 30 days, which is almost unbelievable to consider.
Damn.
But it just does a great job at sort of deconstructing slasher tropes while also respecting them and just using a lot of them still. So it very much like respects the horror genre while it's commenting on how ridiculous the horror genre is. And it's also like highlighting these things and saying, you know what, we like it, but what if we don't do that exactly? With the whole like, you know, virgins survive, but our final girl is no longer a virgin, but she's like this total badass and survives in the end. It's just got a lot of well-written characters. The performances are like through the roof. Everybody legitimately is a suspect, and they're all like believable. It's got a healthy lump of comedy in it. The score and the soundtrack are phenomenal. The inclusion of Red Right Hand I fucking love that song. It's a great song.
Same.
It's got 2 of the most iconic scenes I can think of in recent memory, or not even recent anymore, and just like horror cinema, with the very opening scene with Drew Barrymore and like the whole end scene at the party. Like pretty much that whole party scene, start to finish, is just like banging on all cylinders. There's just so much happening in that scene. It pulls you into the movie and it holds your attention. I remember the first time I saw it, I was way too young and it just terrified me. I didn't get any of the comedy or the fact that it was commenting on anything because I hadn't seen slasher movies really because I was like 12. It terrified me and I was like, this movie's terrifying. Why would anybody enjoy this? I don't get it. Doesn't make sense to me.
People are just dying. I don't like it.
Right. Yeah. This man's drooling uncontrollably. What's happening? Of course, like I get it now. It's funny, but it's also very scary. It just, Wes Craven fucking is the perfect man to direct this movie. He kind of did this already when he returned to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. With Wes Craven's New Nightmare, he comments on the franchise itself, and I think that was like a really great stepping stone for him being the perfect director for this movie. It's just, I got no complaints. I really got no complaints. One of my favorite movies of all time, 5 stars. That's going to give us a perfect 5-star rating here. That's
going to give us an average of a 3.66666666, Bob. So let's go ahead and put that down.
Perfect.
3.66666666.
5 stars from the Straight Chilling crew.
Let me go ahead and do Bob's job.
We're right and wrongs, baby.
Is 3.66666666. We'll go ahead and put that down on the old spreadsheet. I'll make sure Randy updates it accurately.
You have access to the spreadsheet yourself. You just don't.
I'll make sure Randy updates it accurately to 3.666.
You are out of control, man. Let's go ahead and jump
Bob, you can't dictate my scores, okay? You can't dictate my scores.
Man, you did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. Let's jump into our Rotten Tomatoes segment and see what the critics and users think about Scream.
Certified Fresh Death.
Perfect.
That was so good. Watching that was even better. I am so glad I did not ruin this segment this time, and I don't even know the scores.
Hey,
I don't know them.
Nice.
So,
all right.
And even though we've covered this and we probably did the Rotten Tomato scores, it was like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
like we've been doing this too damn long. Nobody knows. Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Let's get into our Rotten Tomato segment. So I think eventually Randy will be taking over the segment, but he's not here. So I'll be handling it for now. We're going to go around the table and you guys are going to try to guess first the critic score. Total count on the critics is 71. So let's let our guest go first. Danielle, what do you think the 71 critics have rated Scream?
71. I would say it's percent, right?
Yeah,
out of 100.
Out of 100. Out of 100.
Out of 100. I'm going to say 81%.
81. Okay. Otto Bear, what do you think 71 critics have rated this?
I'm going to go with the year it was released, 96%.
96. You think that highly, huh, Bob? You think it's that good? You just can't accept that maybe an average of 3.6666 is where this movie should be. Okay.
That's ludicrous.
So 81 and 96 are the scores we have. Danielle is going to take it with the win. Certified fresh. It is sitting at a 79%, Bob, which is curiously close to the Straight Chilling Crew's new average of 3.666, which would translate to around 72%. The critic consensus is horror icon Wes Craven's subversive deconstruction of the genre is sly, witty, and surprisingly effective as a slasher film itself, even if it's a little too cheeky for some, Bob. Men of the people, men and women.
No, we're not.
Bob,
you're fired.
We are so close.
It's too early to be trolled this hard. It's too early.
Let's see what the audience has to say about this. Oozer ratings. 478,000. Sorry, I'm fucking drunk. 478,219 is the number of oozers we are looking at. We're going to let Rob go first this time. He's so confident. Bob, audience score. Are we men and women of the people? What do you think?
I do think it's going to be higher than the critics score. I mean, probably not 96%, but I'll go like, I don't know, 85. I'll take 85.
85.
Yeah.
All right, Danielle, what do you think the people have to say about this?
I was also thinking in the 80s, so I'll do a double, 88.
88. All right, Bob is going to take the victory this time.
Ooh.
The overall score, Bob, 79%.
What?
Matching the audience score, surprisingly close to the Straight Chilling Crew score of an average of 3.666.
This is a thing. This is now a thing. Ridiculous.
Reluctantly a thing.
No respect. No respect.
All right, that is our Rotten Tomatoes segment. We have proven once again that we are men and women of the people.
Man, you get back to freaking South Korea and all of a sudden you're a whole new man, disrespecting Scream with a 1 star. It's bullshit.
I said it's a solid 1 star, Bob. What didn't you hear?
That's some bullshit from the Straight Chilling Crew. Some bullshit.
You brought this on yourself, Bob.
Well, Randy is not here. We're going to go ahead and skip some trivia for this evening.
We are incapable of looking up trivia without Randy. That has been proven.
I sprinkled some throughout the conversation.
I know.
A little smidge.
Randy himself doesn't even like to look up trivia, which is why he's taking over Rotten Tomatoes segment in this upcoming year.
This is true. But we do have some Hotline Screams we got to get to.
Hotline Scream. All right.
Yeah, we've got 3 voicemails coming at you this week. If you are listening yourself and you'd like to call in and leave us a voicemail to be played on the show, you can do that. You can call us at 904-638-3231. Just a heads up, there's a 3-minute time limit.
Yeah.
So, talk quickly. So yeah, we got 3 voicemails. Who we got coming up first there, Soju?
I was going to ask you, but let's start with Dharmic just so I can close this tab out. So Dharmic sent it a little special way. So let's go with Dharmic first. Ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hey guys, it's your friendly Canadian Dharmic here. I couldn't call you on New Year's Eve because the Red Stag got the better of me. So you're getting a Red Stag hangover call. I'm really not sure why anyone would choose to drink Red Stag at this point. Oy. Anyways, wanted to call and wish you guys a happy new year. And Bob, I wish you the best in your physical media show. Good luck and Godspeed putting your addiction to good use.
That is a tribute to Shaboy Red Stag Randy.
Red Stag Randy.
Red Stag Randy. That was our Halloween episode. I had to go back and listen to that because I was like, that shit was funny as fuck. Him saying I did not open a bottle of Red like that.
That was our Texas Chainsaw double feature, which went long because we talked about 2 movies and Randy ran out. It did.
It was over 3 hours and Randy drank a whole bottle of Red Stag.
He ran out of whiskey.
Oh my! Dude was drinking from the bottle at the end of the 3-hour mark, and we're like, "Oh my god, is he gonna die?"
That shit got really, really funny. Really funny.
Yeah, that shit got nuts.
Red Stag Randy, thanks, Dharmic, for calling in, man. First time hearing from you, I believe, on the Hotline Scream. Also,
was it? I guess we talked to him so much on the Slack that it's hard. Yeah, it's hard for me to remember.
Hit him up on Slack regularly, but also thanks for. Shouting out and supporting Let's Get Physical Media. See, Justin, you've created a monster. You have created a monster.
I created it. Bob likes to play. Bob this is the projection era of Bob. he can't take responsibility for his own actions, you know. Bob, we know that jet ski's headed your way.
Bob.
You know, we confirmed that Bob could have bought a jet ski and he somehow wants to blame it on me.
I do. It's your fault, man.
This is why you're getting solid 1 stars, Bob, you know.
I wanted to talk about discs so much that I had to start a whole new show for it. It's all your fault.
Good. I'm glad you did. I will say, Bob, I am surprised and ashamed.
Wow.
That the theme song to the new Let's Get Physical Media, because I of course supported and listened to the first episode, but the theme song was not the bump that we used for How to Save a Life. I thought for sure that would have been the theme song to your new show, but you didn't keep it. You're too ashamed, I suppose.
It's a new thing. It's a whole... We're not saving lives anymore. I'm dead. I'm resurrected. I'm a zombie coming at you. Zombie blob.
Could have said a phoenix.
Blob. So we got...
Blob.
we got a couple more. Who are we hearing from next?
Let's hear from Hydraberg.
All right. Let's do it.
Here we go.
Hydraberg, the truth is out there.
Fucking mic drop.
The truth is out there. That shit got me good.
Yeah.
Dude, that's it. That's in reference to last episode in which we covered our favorite documentary of all time, which
Bigfoot Monster Mystery.
The movie we have seen more than many other better films, but it is hilarious. We have seen that movie way too many times. It's okay though, because it's like 40 minutes. So
it's a quick hitter. That's Hydraberg doing his best Bigfoot impression, which is pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty legit.
Yeah, I know. I wonder what those like professional, professors are saying about Hydraberg's impersonation, because apparently that sound that was recorded could not have been a human being. It couldn't. Not have been replicated, but I thought Hydraberg did a pretty good job. I thought it sounded like a Sasquatch to me.
Pretty damn close, man. He must have been practicing.
I believe
truth is out there.
The truth is out there. Nice.
Hell yeah.
All right, and we've got one more Hotline Scream. This is from Shaboy Rage Cat.
Shaboy.
Here we go.
Yo, what up? It's Rage Cat here again, calling back at the Hotline Scream. And I heard the call to say what the favorite moment of 2019 was. And I think after my very fun call that I had with you guys once, or a message, I should say, it has to be the fucking... the time that you guys just started cracking up over that fucking rat and Halloween Resurrection, fucking Myers stains just eating rat stomachs. That fucking rat. So I thought that I would chime in with my favorite moment of 2019 just being that, because I still fucking think about it sometimes. That fucking rat is still great. So yeah, I really look forward to seeing and hearing what you guys do in 2020. So I will keep chilling with you guys for as long as I might be able to. Peace.
So did he call Michael Myers Myers Stains? Is that what he said?
Dude,
He might have.
Rage Cat was fucked up.
Sound like he was a little twisted, yeah.
Probably hitting that red stag. That dude, I agree though. That was one of my favorite moments from 2019. That rat scene is probably one of my favorite Halloween moments.
So that's in reference to the Halloween Resurrection episode we did, where there's this half-eaten rat that's obviously dead, but it comes back alive real quick, which is ridiculous. Apparently, Michael Myers is just eating some rats, because he does that, I guess. But that rat ain't dead. That's a zombie rat, baby. It's still alive.
Dude, the bite that was out of the rat was like so humongous.
He's got a big mouth, man.
Dude, and it was somehow still alive. That shit got me good. That was a good episode. That was a fun episode.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That movie is just terrible. It's
not good.
That is the best scene by far.
The best scene. That's really saying
It's
something.
just good for some laughs.
It is. Yeah, it's good to laugh at. That's for sure. Michael Myers gets hit right in the dick too. There's good Lord.
That movie's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Movie's not good.
Oh man.
Well, thank you, Rage Cat. I'm glad you enjoyed the Halloween Resurrection episode.
That's that shit's nuts. If you want to call and leave us a voicemail, hit us up at 904-638-3231. We want to pose a question for you this week for the Hotline Scream. What's your most anticipated release of 2020? What's coming out that you're looking forward to? And of course, I expect to hear many people say most anticipated is Halloween Kills.
Absolutely. It's gotta be Halloween Kills. Dude. Who would pick anything other? Dude, let me be honest. I'm dreading that movie. Even if it's good, I'm dreading the conversation that's going to surround that movie just because the last one was so mediocre, but people don't want to admit it.
Dude, what if in this one they make like a rat meat banh mi sandwich?
That would be fine. We talked about that in Resurrection. That would be fine.
It's the banh mi trilogy.
They talk about goddamn banh mi sandwiches. I'm going to throw a Coke at the screen.
I'm gonna love it
at the fucking screen. I'm peacing out.
Oh man. So hit us up. What's your most anticipated release of 2020? I'm gonna do something since this is the first episode we actually are recording in the new year. I'm gonna do something similar that I did last year. I kind of have a mock top 10 list that I want to run down, and then at the end of the year, I like to look back and see how accurate I was, how many movies were on my original list, lasted, and remained on my final list.
Yeah.
Fun.
So I got
last year Bob picked Glass.
I did. Yeah. Foolish me. What was I thinking?
I know. I tried to warn Bob. I felt so bad for him at the time.
2019 Bob was a damn fool. 2020 Bob
was a damn
smarter, baby.
He was so naive. Let's see what Bob's got. God, Halloween Kills is going to be on there.
Of course it is. All right, mock top 10 for 2020. Halloween Kills. Yeah, it's on there. Halloween Kills. I'm looking forward to it.
Do you have them ranked, Bob, or is it just a general list?
Loosely ranked.
I guess it would have to be general, yeah.
Yeah, but I've got the new James Wan flick, Malignant. I'm really looking forward to that. Apparently, it's going to be a Giallo type movie, which I'm very intrigued.
Giallo!
Want to see what that's about.
There's always room for Giallo, Bob.
There is. This movie coming out, I think in March. It's called The Lodge. It looks like it's...
oh my God.
Right? Yeah, there's a trailer out.
I want to see it so bad.
It looks like twisty-turny, maybe. It seems like they're not giving a whole lot away, but you're in a lodge in the middle of the woods, and it's snowing, and there are these kids, and it just looks creepy. I think there's a cult involved, perhaps. I don't know. It looks interesting. I forget who directed it.
Perhaps.
I forget who directed it. Off top.
Can't tell you that. I have no idea.
Yeah. Anyway, check that trailer out. It looks pretty cool. 4. Color Out of Space, Nick Cage movie.
Hell yeah, dude.
That shit looks cool.
Give me that new Nick Cage shit.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Gretel and Hansel, that freaking movie looks dope. That trailer needs to be
seen. It looks so good. Mm-hmm. I can't say what I'm going to say because I don't know what else is on your list. So just go ahead. I'll come back.
Yeah, that's a new joint from Oz Perkins, Gretel and Hansel. Number 6, Come to Daddy, an Elijah Wood joint. Looks like his dad might be a bit of a murderous psychopath. That looks interesting.
I like that they're like at a beach house.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah.
Pleasant.
Just like that's not somewhere you get a lot of horror movies, like this tropical beach house. It's like that's kind of cool.
Yeah. 7, The Invisible Man looks pretty interesting. Blumhouse joint.
Yeah.
8, A Quiet Place 2.
You think Tom Cruise is going to show up in that, Bob? You think he's going to make a cameo? You think he'll give us his classic scream?
That would be wild.
Maybe it'll be a jump scare. Maybe she's watching like The Mummy on the television.
Dude, that would be hilarious. We got dumbass Tom Cruise falling from an airplane in the background. Oh, that movie's such a dumpster fire. Holy crikey. A Quiet Place 2. That trailer looks baller, and I'm surprised to say that.
Did.
Looks good.
It looks really good.
Number 9, Edgar Wright's new joint. I think this is Edgar Wright movie. Last Night in Soho. Looks pretty interesting. It's gonna be like a, I guess, like a sci-fi-ish horror movie is what it is being pitched as. I think it's coming out later in the year. And number 10.
Is that a remake or no?
I don't think so, but I'm not certain. I'm not sure.
I don't know anything about it, but I saw it on the list.
Number 10, the last one I got here, is going to be Glenn Danzig's Verotica. I cannot wait to see this movie. Apparently,
you are very excited about that movie, Bob.
It's been described as like a horror version of the movie The Room. So it's like very much cult status.
Hell yeah.
Like maybe Glenn Danzig's not the best director, but it's one of those things that's like a train wreck. You kind of have to see it to believe it. I cannot wait.
Yeah, people hyping it up that way though. That might be your pick. Well, no, not quite. It's probably going to be Halloween Kills for sure, but
rat meat sandwich, baby.
But yeah, people hyping it like, oh, it's this, like that. That was like such a specific movie that like even people comparing it to it makes me like dubious. I'm like,
yeah. No. I don't know. We'll see. It's coming out the end of February, I believe. So we'll have to do like a mini cast on it.
Oh, wow, that's soon.
Yeah. It's coming out pretty quick. A lot of those are coming out in the first quarter of the year because obviously I know more about what's coming out in the first quarter than I do the rest of the year. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see about it.
What's Bob's Glass this year? Halloween Kills show.
I hope not, man. I really hope that movie's good. We'll see. What you got, Danielle?
I was going to say what I was going to say earlier is The Lodge, The Turning, and Gretel and Hansel. Those all came out like at the same time with the trailers. And I kind of got The Turning and The Lodge like mixed up sometimes. And so I was like, wait, which movie is this? Like when it would start, I'd be like, oh, I can't wait to see The Lodge. And I'm like, oh wait, that's The Turning. I don't know what I'm watching. But all of those movies are like weird kids and like wintertime. Like I love the feel of all three of those movies. I can't wait to see them. That's it.
There's also a movie coming out called Antlers that's Del Toro produced. I can't quite figure out like what's going to be going on there, but I'm definitely intrigued by it.
The guy who made Channel Zero, he wrote that as a short story first.
Okay.
And you can read it online, but I mean, it'll tell you. I read it like I think a couple of years ago, and I didn't know they were making a movie out of it, so I spoiled it for myself. But from the trailer, it looks like they're going to change a lot of it because it's a very. I mean, I don't know how you'd make a movie out of this short story because it's a very short time period. But it's fucking good. Like I can't wait for that movie.
All right,
nice.
So yeah, that was another one that like kind of piqued my interest for sure.
Yeah.
It's a new decade. You think we're gonna slump a scotch? Probably gonna slump a scotch.
It depends on how fucked up the world gets. If we keep spiraling out of control, then we'll probably get some good horror movies this decade.
We'll see. I don't know how it could top last decade. It was the greatest horror decade.
I mean, it was thick. We'll see.
Yes.
But yeah, there's some good stuff coming out this year, seemingly anyways. The Grudge, I don't know about that one. starting off
Off
rocky.
to a rough start.
Starting off rocky. But we got
Hey,
some,
we get the bad ones out of the way.
right. So yeah, let us know what you're anticipating. We'd like to hear from you. That's about all we got for this week's show. Danielle, thank you so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you on. And thank you so much for respecting the movie Scream and giving it a proper 5-star rating like it deserves.
Because it's the
Bob,
best movie ever made.
Right.
You're just projecting over there, Bob. You just everybody's got to bend to your will. Huh,
Bob's
Bob?
just a projector this year. That's all Bob is. Bon
Little
me.
blobby Bob.
Blob. Danielle, one more time. You want to tell people where they can find you and your spooky doings?
Yes, my spooky doings. I am the Ghoulish Girl on Twitter and Instagram. I am a part of Ghoulish Cast. You can find us on pretty much every podcast platform. And then we also have a new website under Something Ghoulish that has all of our stuff, like I mentioned earlier. Video, essays, editorials, editorial/think pieces. All of our podcasts are on there. And then our joint Twitter account is @GhoulishShow. So you can follow us there too.
Dope. Check them out.
You guys make great content.
Yeah, you guys do good work. Check
It's a
them
fun
out.
time.
Show them some love. So we're gonna be back. We're gonna be back next week with another show. We're gonna be coming out the gate actually with our very first Patreon pick of the quarter. We're gonna be talking about Toby Hooper's.
Can we even reveal?
Yeah. People got to know what to watch, bro. Toby Hooper's Life Force, which was chosen by the one, the only Hydraberg.
He's trying to keep it secret. Reveal!
Yeah.
Hydraberg.
I haven't seen that one in a few years. I'm excited to revisit it. I remember liking it.
I feel like I might have seen it, but I'm not clear. So I'll let you know next week if I was correct or not.
Well, I look forward to that. I'll be waiting. I'll be anticipating. And
we'll see if Randy shows up.
He should. Yeah, Randy should be back next week unless something crazy happens. But yeah, I believe he will.
Crazy things happen
back. They
all
do.
the time, Bob.
They do. So until next week, please rate.
I mean,
review.
Scream got a 3.66666
Oh
this
my
week.
lord!
That's pretty crazy.
Please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. It's a really great way to support the show that only costs a minute or two of your time. Your ratings help people find us that don't know we exist. We really do appreciate that. We love seeing those. You can also hit us up on Twitter at str8_chilling, Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If you want to join our Slack channel, it's a new year. If you want to get a little more involved with the Straight Chilling crew, we have a Slack channel. We talk to people on there every day of the week about the movie of the week. We talk about horror TV, video games, news, anything and everything we want. Music. We've got a really awesome community happening on Slack. So if you want to join, just let us know on any one of those social media platforms, and I'll send you a link so you can join us on Slack. Keep your eyes and ears open for new episodes of Let's Get Physical Media. We got one dropping this Tuesday. Justin's got his Tuesday lists dropping first Tuesday the first Tuesday of every month, right? Juice on YouTube.
Yep.
Got
new Twitch games coming.
Twitch.
We twitching over here.
So we got a lot of shit. It's going to be
Bracket of Blood. Did we mention? God, we got just like too many things.
A lot of shit.
You might be getting a mini episode this week.
Yeah.
You sons of bitches.
You
We're spoiling your asses.
Sons of bitch.
We got it's a busy year already, and we're like 12
The
days
year
into it.
straight chilling.
The year of the chill, where Blob is just a projector.
Where Blob picks the first movie that gets a 3.666 this year.
Gracious.
Ew.
So yeah, hit us up, get involved, and until next week, as always, all of you mother truckers, please keep chilling.